Death is a function of entropy upon all living creatures, and no matter how hard anyone tries, no one in the universe can escape its inevitable grasp. Some go to great lengths to restore what was taken from them by fate's hands. Wendy was probably tempted by Maxwell to use dark magic to revive her dead sister. Now she toils away in an endless purgatory. At least she was somewhat successful. With 150 health, 150 hunger, and 200 sanity, she's on par with Wilson in terms of base stats, with the caveat that she deals 25% less damage. I guess being weak runs in the family. And no, it isn't because she's a little girl. There are other child characters that do normal damage, she just has muscular dystrophy or something. She does also come with a 25% reduced sanity drain from all sources. Her main gimmick is being accompanied by the ghost of her twin sister Abigail, who protects her from harm and can be augmented with ecto-herbology, aka Ghost Potions. My name is Limelycan, and I won't waste any more of your time, so get out your Ouija board and some candles as I tell you exactly how it feels to play Wendy. This video isn't gonna be as segmented as the past ones, mainly because Wendy is a one-trick wonder. She's just a weak Wilson. On her own, she blows. But her whole gimmick is that she's actually two characters in the same slot. You're probably saying, great, so why don't we just cut to the chase and see what that's all about? Don't get too eager. Take a moment to examine the HUD. You see that? That's Abigail's max health. On day 1, it starts at 150, but over the course of 2 days, it grows to 600. This is similar to how it used to work in single player, only now you can summon Abigail at any time during this period and you don't have to offer a blood sacrifice. So let's just skip over 2 days and now we summon her. This is Abigail, reliable, transparent, and always eager to bring
chaos and destruction upon the living.
She is the sole supplement to Wendy's weak combat ability, and is probably how you'll do most of your fighting. A combat system where a summon fights on your behalf? Now where have I heard that before? Oh shit, a spider! All jokes aside, she makes quite the bodiless bodyguard. Instead of only attacking single targets like Mr. Burns over there, she attacks within an AoE bubble for 20 damage during the day and 40 at night. You're given some control over her temperament as well. Right-clicking the flower lets you either enrage Abigail, which means she'll attack any mob regardless of agitation, or soothe her and have her only attack once you've been hit. She isn't just good at crowd control, she is the crowd control, and her name isn't Abigail, it's the Mob Mower! Watching as she shreds the competition. This is my favorite part about playing Wendy. Why attack one monster when you can just put him in a blender? The ruins become a breeze, especially during the nightmare phase when the Splamunkies turn Splamurderous. Just look at all this meat. I had so many jerky morsels you'd think I was running a goddamn Jack Link's factory. That'll teach those monkeys to think twice before stealing my thulicite. Since you can make mountains and mountains of monkey ribs, you can also crash the Constance economy by inflating gold prices. Plus, you get those rare banana drops for Wendy's favorite food, banana pops. Wendy's gameplay is basically DST's easy mode. You must be an absolute dumbass to die from starvation or anything like that. Abby still has her limits. While she's immune to being stun-locked, so are some enemies such as the aforementioned monkeys, frogs, and spider warriors. She has a shield which can slow down damage, but not enough to save her from an endless onslaught of amphibians like during spring or a very powerful boss attack. Abigail actually possesses no damage-reducing armor, so she'll take full damage if she happens to land in the range of, say, a Deerclops. It's why I won't recommend you fight certain bosses with Abigail around if you can help it, even if you gain a 1.15 damage multiplier when fighting enemies that your sister's also fighting. Tame an ornery beefalo instead if you must go toe-to-toe with any powerful bosses. If Abigail is really in danger, you can call her back to her Pokeball, flower, by clicking and dragging the flower onto her. When Abigail is dismissed by Wendy's hand, you'll lose 15 sanity, but if she's destroyed, you'll lose double, and Abigail will return to level 1, necessitating you to wait all over again for her to become strong. Instead of waiting around like a chump, you can build a cistern from Wendy's crafting tab. When decorated with 4 flower petals, it cuts Abigail's recovery time dramatically. And speaking of recovery, Abigail can be put away pretty much instantaneously. However, summoning her will play a lengthy animation that you cannot cancel, and must play out in its entirety, otherwise Abigail won't come forth. This got me killed more than a few times when the hound waves caught me with my pants down. I think you'd best play it safe and keep her summoned at all times, and only call her back when necessary. But you're not playing Wendy to babysit a specter. We want that incorporeal form as indestructible as an obelisk. This is where our ecto-herbology tab comes in, or our ghost potions. There are 6 different elixirs that Wendy can brew. Serendipitous, I know. And each one requires 1 or 2 common ingredients along with a resource unique to Wendy's gameplay loop, Morning Glory. That's morning with a U if you couldn't tell. Jeez, it's always about death with this one. Can I just go off on a tangent about Wendy's depressing ass inspect dialogues? That would be an easy way out of this place. Cold, dead, and black, just like my heart. A brief light in a dark life. For documenting my pain. Not the big sleep, just a temporary one. I envy your escape. Everything dies, alone, and rolling through life. I could jump in and be done. She's either incredibly suicidal or making poetic references. It's like an emo phase that never ends. Can't blame her though. I'd be depressed too if I had to choose to live among clockwork bishops or beefalo shit. Anyways, you can obtain these dumpling-looking things from Pipspooks, a ghost type that only Wendy can communicate with to carry out their unfinished business, which just entails finding their lost toys around the graveyard up to 5 times for 1 glory each until the last toy is found, at which point you are given a bigger reward. Wendy's on pretty good terms with the dead, as evidenced by the fact that all ghost types are neutral to her and won't immediately attack her. Guess those seances paid off. But enough phantasmally fraternizing, let's get to brewing. The first 2 potions are for healing Abigail, being Revenant Restorative and Spectral Cure-All. The main difference between these 2 is Revenant Restorative lasts far longer and acts as a slow, steady, and long-lasting rejuvenation to complement Abigail's natural regen. Spectral Cure-All, on the other hand, is a burst healing item that can completely heal Abigail in a matter of 30 seconds. The latter is pretty expensive, needing you to sacrifice a portion of your health to bring your sister's salvation. Kinda poetic in a way. These potions are by no means a requirement, as you could mend Abigail's spiritual wounds with your run-of-the-mill spider glands, healing salves, or honey poultices. They're really more like nice-to-haves. The next elixir is Unyielding Drought, which extends Abigail's shield proc from half a second to a full second. That's it. That's all it does. Don't get me wrong, any little advantage helps, but I'm not going to act like it's a godsend. There's a better version of this concept called Distilled Vengeance, which alongside extending the shield proc also gives Abigail Thorn's armor. So if any enemy hits the shield, they will take 20 damage. If there's an elixir to make, it's this one. After all, the best defense is a good offense, and if your enemies die faster, they won't spend as much time attacking you. Which brings me to the next elixir, Nightshade Nordstrom, which powers up Abigail's attacks to nighttime levels for the entire day. Really helps during summer when days are long and nights are short. The final elixir is Vigor Mortis, which increases Abigail's movement speed by 75%. Again, not very useful, except if you need to run from something and Abigail's lagging behind. This is a problem for all follower types, like Chester. They tend to run much slower than you and end up dragging the enemy aggro much farther than it would have gone if you were alone. This elixir's very niche and too much effort for the upside. Pipspooks are frustrating to deal with as is. The little Doppler thing gets brighter when you get close to the toys, not the ghosts, so it's a little confusing. And sometimes the spawn locations are inconvenient, like across a river, or in an entirely different graveyard. I don't like playing this shitty little fetch quest minigame to potentially only get 5 or 6 morning glories for mediocre ghost potions. You can't even stack effects, only 1 potion is usable at a time. Clay, please, when you make the Wendy skill tree, give us something more interesting to play with. The only thing I'd say is really unique about these elixirs is that they can be applied remotely by pouring them on Abigail's flower. So yay for Bluetooth ghost drinks, I guess. Finally, we arrive on the cooperation segue, and Wendy's gotta prove herself to stay on the team. So what good can you do with all that metaphysical manifestation? Food farming with Abigail works great for feeding large parties, and she can defend an entire camp from hound waves of the late game. My personal favorite synergy is also an official ship, Weber and Wendy. Weber can craft and upgrade spider nests to place around an area, and Wendy can use Abigail for the slaughter. This helps to avoid the spiders eating the meat, which they will do if you do the old aggro all the spiders on each other method of farming. This way you get maximum profits for little effort on Wendy's part. Make sure to equip Distilled Vengeance though, otherwise the spiders will outdamage Abigail. You wouldn't want to put Wendy through that kind of trauma a second time. She can also work with a Wartox or Willow to make quick work of soul harvesting. You know what? In any situation where killing a large amount of monsters is necessary, just let Wendy do it. You'll never know a more efficient butcher. Back in the day, Wendy was my daily driver for all things Don't Starve. When I moved on to other characters, I forgot just how simple she makes things. And with her sister, she becomes the immovable object between you and starvation. So go ahead and pick her next time you make a world. And if you already main her, you can say that even you know how it truly feels to play Wendy.